Now, what I know about this is only anecdotal because I know this from talking to tenants in my own project. But do we have stats on? Do we have an understanding of how those units are regarded? Once that tenant is paying market value, do we have the same standards about housed, underhoused? Do they move to the back of the list in terms of transferring into larger units because they're paying market value? Is there a whole list about TCAC or TCAC?
Through the chair, once a tenant receives market rent and has been paying market rent for 1 year, they're no longer considered for RGI and would need to go back to the waiting list.
Right, but say they're earning their $45,000 a year. They're paying it's slightly below market value, I believe, that what's the market rent in the same way as the RGI tenants.
The internal transfer policies are specific to the RGI units. It'd be up to.
So it's safe to consider, in order to have the flexibility they need in their lives, these tenants occupying these 6,000 units will want to apply for these new units because they would be regarded more fairly.
I think that would be yes, if their income qualified them for affordable housing and the rent paid in the new unit was better than their current one and they wanted to move, then I would imagine that would be correct.
So what is the process? Once we build all these, let's say we have land office success here and we build 10,000 units. How does one qualify for these units? Is it a waiting list? Is it a lottery? Is it one-time lottery for all of them? Or is it a lottery for each project as it's completed? What's the plan? Is that my time going by, Madam Speaker?
Apologies. Through the chair, for each project, TCAC is recently using a random draw process to allow for equitable access to all people who apply.
And it's a new random draw for each project.
That's correct.
And how will they find out that the random draw is now taking place and that they are a person who ought to be getting into that random draw?
We work with TCAC to ensure an extensive advertisement process. So they notify all their tenants. We advertise on the city websites, plus there's advertisements put out in local media.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions, Madam Speaker.
Very good. Important questions. Because everybody needs
Councillor
to know this.
Ford.
The only thing is, people,
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
every 40 years, the government's supposed to bill for the new generation. So all this crap is all crap. Okay? Study your history and you will know what is what. These guys only want credit for something that's already set in stone. Look it up. Knowledge is the key. Hold them accountable.
With this table, then also mentioned about looking at using existing staff resources as well. Is that to complement these positions, or is that over and above?
My apologies. Through the speaker, we're bringing in the housing secretariat just to kickstart these 11 projects, and then we're going to be looking at how we augment it with the affordable housing office, because in the fall we'll also be bringing forward
these are for affordable
housing. 10-year housing plan for council's consideration, and then we're going to see how we leverage the housing secretariat and the affordable housing office to drive not only the Housing Now program, but the other programs to reach our targets that council will be considering this fall through that housing plan.
Councillor Fletcher, questions? Yes, thank you very much. On page 25 of the report, in the appendix 2, it lists all of the sites. And a couple of them, I think, that are almost right beside one another, or very close. And that would be the Bloor Kipling and Bloor Islington aren't really close. They're down the road from one another. But the Don Mill affordability or more affordable units. And can you hold my time while I get that sorted out, please? Thank you.
Through the chair, Councillor, through all of the process for the offering of the 11 sites, we do intend to try to achieve deeper and greater affordability than what's in the program in front of you. But this is the base program that we believe is essential to going forward, recognizing the amount of resources that are being brought by the land and also by the city's fees and charges relief.
So it might be cost efficient to put them out as singles or put them out as a double, depending.
So those evaluations will be done over the next number of months. And there may be instances where we could pair sites, but to be very clear, particularly for those groups that will be interested in this process, we're not putting 11 sites out. They will be put out in a way that there'll be multiple organizations that will have the opportunity to participate in this program.
And who is going to let those or do the RFP for those? Is it the Housing Secretariat or CREATE?
So,
or has that been decided yet?
Well, as you'll see within the report through the chair, the answer with respect to this is that the Housing Secretariat is going to play a key role in ensuring all of that coordination happens, both through city planning and CREATE-TO and other city departments.
But actually the RFP would go out from?
Through the speaker, the actual market process would be administered through CREATE-TO, and the Housing Secretariat would play a key role in ensuring that all parties come together on moving that forward.
And any decisions about grouping properties or any policy? Sorry, I can't see you, Deputy City Manager, because of Councillor Thompson.
See this? Told you, bring the government together. Told you.
That certain authorities be delegated to the DCM and the CFO and the CREATE-TO board on certain real estate matters in order to expedite the process. But anything related to the affordable housing program would be the Housing Secretariat.
So just looking at the page, there's 4 of the sites that make up almost 6,000 of the 10,000 some units. And then there's some of these sites that are quite small. I know there's an appetite to have a range of providers, not just large housing developers, but other providers. Yeah, without giving instructions, would your thinking be that some of those tiny sites, Mr. Gadden, would be useful for a co-op or a nonprofit for 70 units? That's not a Tridel, let's say.
Through the chair, there are a number of the sites that do lend themselves towards nonprofit housing development, and certainly the report speaks to enhancing the ability of the nonprofit housing sector to participate in this program. So we would expect to see their involvement, particularly in those locations where they also the program.
And can somebody tell me how many rental housing units have been lost because of Airbnb? That number was at the committee the other day. Staff.
Through the speaker, I don't have
figure the numbers out.
I don't have that information.
But how many people's on the street, but they can't figure out the numbers, eh? Cool.
Do we have an answer?
Everybody's talking around you. Listen.
I put your time on hold, Councillor.
Thank you so much. I saw that. Appreciate that.
So through the speaker, I'm sorry, we'll have to get that information. We don't have it at the moment. My apologies.
Okay, so I come back up again then? How will we do that?
Well, you got 30 seconds.
Well, but I don't have the answer yet.
No, I know. So when they get the answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
I like this lady. Thumbs up.
Cressy, questions.
Thank you, Speaker. I'll begin directing my questions to Paul Raptis from SSHA. What is the current waiting list for supportive housing in the city of Toronto?
Through the speaker, at the moment, it is
Approximately funded and scheduled to be built in this city over the next coming years.
Through the chair, we're currently supporting 9,700 units.
No, we're currently supporting, but how many units do we have funded to be built, new units to be constructed in the years?
Through the chair.
To Mr. Gadden on the proposal, does this proposal in front of us require the provision of any supportive housing units within the 3,700 affordable?
There's no requirement with respect to supportive housing.
All right, thank you. The delivery agent for the
Bullshit.
affordable housing units that have been
Bullshit.
identified in this, the 3,700. Is there any requirement, Mr. Gavin, I'll direct this to you, is there any requirement in this report that any or all of these would be owned and operated by the nonprofit and co-op sector?
Through the chair, no, there is not a requirement that it be owned by, operated by the nonprofit sector.
Is there any benefit to the nonprofit sector being able to own and operate units in this city? By owning and operating, in addition to building capacity, does that provide financial benefit to them to continue to seek to leverage that to build more housing?
Through the chair, absolutely, and it's one of the reasons why there's a capacity building fund in the report to support nonprofit participation in the Housing Now program.
Okay, thank you. With respect to the purpose-built, Mr. Gavin, I will direct these to yourself unless you see fit otherwise. The proposal in front of us calls for how many purpose-built market rental units?
So in the chart, through the chair, an appendix, you'll see that there's 7,258 purpose-built rental, and then 50% of those are to be affordable, and the other 50% would be market rental.
And so forgive me for not being as quick on the math uptake here. So how many units are purpose-built market rental?
3,629.
3,629. So with respect to those in particular, since the provincial government recently eliminated the requirement for rent control on new purpose-built rental units, does this proposal in front of us require any form of tenant protections on rent control for the city-owned land which will be turned into purpose-built rental?
Question.
In its current form, the Ontario legislation is what would apply.
Perhaps I can direct this to, is there the capacity in this proposal for us to direct the applicants to include tenant protections in their proposals? Do we have the capacity to do that?
Through the chair, yes, we do. And it's certainly a consideration that we could put into reviewing the proposals with respect to the amount of, or the proposed tenant protection that they would provide.
So we could put that into the proposal, but the current proposal does not include that direction related to tenant protection on the purpose-built market rent.
Through the chair, we could put it in.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that, but council can decide how they want to treat this matter.
Thank you very much. And one final question. I'm so sorry to keep you on the hot seat. I know you were recently off a flu, so I appreciate it. The number and the quality, by quality, I mean the level of affordability, both the quantity and the quality. By that, I mean the level of
Most city don't have city.
Through the Housing Now initiative and the bidding process, we see it as an opportunity to award projects to those groups in front of you. We're quite concerned, I will say, that any layering on of additional requirements will essentially chill the bidding process and result in it not being successful.
Does the proposal and the call for proposals include any metrics that state that those proposals that have increased numbers of affordable units and the deepening of affordability of those units will be ranked higher? Does the current proposal assess those on a higher matrix, if that's an objective?
The report in front of you is a report to implement the program. The detailed design associated with this is yet to be done. And so we'll build those and have the capacity and ability to build those metrics in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Bradford.
Me. They don't want to listen to me.
Speaker,
Against them. So good, God.
to Executive Director of Housing. I appreciate that we're coming close to the affordability with a 99-year period. I know our typical practice through programs and policy is more closer to 20 or 49 years. How do we arrive at 99? How were we able to do that?
Through the chair, the instructions that we received from council in December included maintaining the sites in public ownership. In discussions with Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation and the financing that they would have available for projects like Housing Now, they requested that we have a 99-year term.
Right. I want to talk a little bit about the marketed offering piece and how we're setting up the criteria for that. Can the evaluation framework account for applicants that are going beyond the minimums and providing different weight on the criteria towards affordability, in particular deep affordability?
Through the chair, absolutely they can.
Is that something that, you know, as we go through the next step, you guys would consider setting up that way?
Through the chair, absolutely. I think you can understand that all of the different staff and departments and the individuals at CreateTO and CreateTO as an organization understand we have an affordability housing crisis in this city, and we're looking to respond to that. That's what this proposal, that's the guts and the essential pieces of this, which is we've put in front of you what we believe is a proposal that is workable. Would we like to achieve better? Absolutely, and we would expect and hope that the delivery process can do that.
Should, thank you. Should we add perhaps a piece to the weighting that responds to proponents or private sector that actually provides some weighting towards those who have successfully delivered affordable housing projects in the city before? Is that something that would be reflected in the criteria?
Through the chair, absolutely, that will be reflected in the criteria.
Okay. In your experience, I know Infrastructure Ontario, different is to deliver affordable housing across the city. In your experience, do you expect or anticipate that some of the applications or bids will be coming in above and beyond minimum requirements, or would you anticipate that people
for this crap.
on
All I'm saying is,
People,
hold your gun to the accountable.
proposals.
You
Of
understand?
course, we know that the nonprofit housing
You are the
sector,
government,
has a
not private
extreme
sector
interest in this
or
initiative and
corporation.
in creating and
Okay?
increasing the stock of nonprofit housing.
These
And
guys,
so we
they
would
don't give a
expect and
fuck,
hope to see
really.
some of
It's
those
all about
proposals
money.